What's up, guys? I was in the middle of getting ready and trying on outfits for Major League Pickleball because I'm going to Orlando tonight to host Major League Pickleball. And I just had an urge to come in here and record. One, because I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about what's been going on in my life. And then also just really I wanted to give you guys an update on pro pickleball, both in the US and overseas, because I'm not sure a lot of people know what's going on and I want to help everybody understand. So first, a little bit about hosting. I decided to take this Major League hosting role for this coming weekend. It is going to be 4 days, so it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They are very long days. I love hosting. I feel like I was truly made for it. It's so much fun for me. It comes very naturally. And I just love the environment that I created or I create there. I think it's really special. When Major League Pickleball first started in 2021, I was watching from afar. I think there was just streams online at that time. And one of my friends was dating an NBA player, and I was going to more NBA games. I had gone to the Sixers games growing up. But anyway, I went to a Brooklyn Nets game. And it was there that I saw Allie Love host the Brooklyn Nets match or game. And I thought, wow, she is creating such an awesome environment for fans. I love the way she carried herself. You guys may know her from Peloton. She is a Peloton instructor, and she's created like a community called Love. I think it's called Love Crew. She's gotten really good brand deals, and she just seems like smart about the way she goes about things. So anyway, love the environment that she created at Brooklyn Nets. And I thought to myself, the Major League Pickleball experience can be extremely enhanced with a really good host. So I was doing Ask Me Anythings on my Instagram at the time. I barely had any followers. Somebody asked, like, what do you want to do with Pickleball Chick? What do you want this to become? And all I could think about at that time was I want to host Major League Pickleball. I really think I can enhance the overall fan experience. I can make it more fun for players. I can really bring up the energy in the place. And so I just responded with host Major League Pickleball like Allie Love hosts the Brooklyn Nets. And at the time, Brooks Wiley was the commissioner of Major League Pickleball, and he reached out to me via Instagram DM and was like, hey, let's do this. So I had zero experience hosting anything. I obviously have always been very outgoing, and I don't know. People think that I'm fun and I'm loud and I love to dance and I love to bring the energy out of people. And I really, really want to thank Brooks Wiley for taking a shot on me back in 2022. It was October of 2022. It was my first event in Columbus. And I truly believe that event in Columbus set Major League Pickleball off. After that event, every celebrity wanted to be involved. And it was really at that event where we saw the power of Major League Pickleball. In Columbus, every single pro stayed to watch every other match. That didn't happen before in pickleball. It was like the pros would play their match and then they would leave. They would go get food, they would rest, they would hang out with their friends, they would go off and do something else. No one would stay in the venue and watch more pickleball. And that was the first time where I remember looking up, there was this little like oversight, there was an elevated space and you could go up there and watch. And I truly remember that was the first time I was hosting down below and I was dancing with this guy, Austin. Shout out to Austin in Columbus. I love you. But we were dancing and I remember looking up and the pros and so many of the people that were involved in pickleball were on that upper deck level and they were having a blast. It was like a party to the nth degree. It was so fun. So anyway, that was back in October 2022. I hosted every Major League Pickleball event in 2023. Excuse me. I hosted every Major League Pickleball event in 2023. 2024 came and I was the GM of a Major League Pickleball team that I put together the ownership group for. And at that time, they kind of wanted me to choose. And so I chose to stick to being the GM because I had put this team together. I put the ownership group together. It was like my passion. And anyway, in June or July of that year, they basically parted ways with me being the GM. So I went back to hosting. So I hosted a few Major League Pickleballs last year. I definitely won. I hosted the finals in Orlando at the USTA National Convention in November, and it was unbelievable. It was like the best environment ever. I also hosted PPA Tour event. I hosted 2 events in India, which was amazing. I hosted the World Pickleball Tour debut in Dubai. That league actually never launched yet, which is interesting. But I hosted the Indian Open, which was in Mumbai. I've hosted so many things over my career, and I truly believe that's where I am my most genuine self. And I would love to do more events. People have asked me if I want to do more sports because obviously a lot of other sports get paid a lot more right now. And so that's a thought, but I don't know. If you have connections, let me know. But yeah, I hosted Necker Island Pickleball Forum. I hosted Katy Perry's Pickleball Foundation event. So anyway, I've really enjoyed hosting. So one of the best parts about it for me is picking out the outfits. I am in an outfit that's probably not going to make the cut. I just don't love the skirt on the bottom, but I love it. But it does take a lot of time. And I've kind of become known for what I wear while I host because I put together really fun outfits. But something I want to manifest is having an amazing wardrobe stylist that puts together amazing outfits that I don't have to take the time and energy to do myself. So goals for the future. But anyway, next section I want to get into is just talking about the pro pickleball landscape right now, because it is wild. So in the United States right now, there are 2 tours. There is the APP tour and there is the PPA tour. Yes, I know it's extremely confusing. They are literally the same letters, just backwards. So again, you have APP and you have PPA. APP is kind of more like I don't want to call it a mom and pop show because it's not. People think it's more friendly. And people think that Ken Herman, who started the APP tour, has done everything, put his heart and soul into it, is extremely friendly to the players. Doesn't matter if you're a pro or an amateur. Extremely nice to all of their vendors, their sponsors, everything. The PPA tour was started by Connor Pardoe. Since years back, Tom Dundon bought most of it, I believe, from Connor Pardoe. And now they merged with Major League Pickleball. And that entity with PPA Tour and Major League Pickleball is called UPA. Now, things to note. APP players, anyone that plays in the APP Tour, they're just playing. They're playing for prize money. They want to win because if they don't win, they don't make money. Players on the PPA Tour right now are signed to contracts. They are salaried players. So contracts were signed 2023, starting in 2024. So they're about a year and some change into their 3-year. Most people signed 3-year deals. Some people did not. And some people signed different things that were kind of back and forth. But anyway, players are mostly signed to salaried contracts. So when they play on the PPA Tour, they don't really win that much money if they win. So there's not that much incentive. Same thing goes with Major League Pickleball. A lot of these players are signed to the same, it's kind of an all-encompassing contract. And so it's really, really interesting, the different dynamic between those 2 tours. Now, PPA feels very professional. If you go to the event, you really feel like you're at, I would compare it similar to a UFC or a golf event, a soccer event. It feels very professional. It feels like they care about broadcasts. I mean, they're trying to sign a big media deal. It feels like the players feel like it's something big. But anyway, both of these tours, interestingly enough, have amateur tournaments attached to these pro tours usually. And that's where they make a lot of money as well. So people can go and play these amateur tournaments, and then they can go and see the pros play, which is also really cool. Now overseas is very interesting. So last year, India jumped onto the scene and like crushed it. Okay. India has multiple leagues. They have at least 3 leagues right now that are competing at the pro level. In Asia, there's also a few things going on. The PPA Tour is kind of partnering with certain tours or tournament director-ish organizations and creating like offshoots. So there's the PPA Tour Asia, there's the PPA Tour Australia. Actually, Australia is another country that has multiple professional tours or leagues or whatever you want to call it. So in the United States, there's like over 100 players that are playing professionally and doing it for a living. And they're making anywhere from, I don't know, let's say 50 grand to multiple millions. And they're some of the top players are signing very, very good sponsorship contracts. So we haven't really seen like really big brands that are non-endemic, meaning non-pickleball brands, come into the sport yet on the professional side. There are some, and it is becoming more and more prevalent. So Major League Pickleball just got DoorDash as the title sponsor for the league. That's amazing. That's a household name. Skechers has come in. They're sponsoring a couple pros on the apparel and shoe front. There are some others, but I would say in general, we haven't seen like a huge splash yet, like what's going on in tennis or golf. Mainly tennis. I shouldn't even say that I know really the golf aspect of things, but it's crazy that these players are making so much money here in the United States. We've seen padel, it's really called padel, explode overseas in Europe, in Mexico, in Spanish countries, and we're now seeing it come over into the US. There's a professional league in the US, but there's like no money really yet in that league. The pro pickleball players are making massive money compared to every other sport in the world. Like our number 1 female in the world in pickleball is called Annalie Waters. She's 19 years old, I believe. She is making multiple millions. You take another amazing athlete like Caitlin Clark, who is, the best, arguably one of the best women's basketball players in the world, and her salary is like 60 or 70 or 80 grand. I don't know, something really, really small. She's making a lot of money on sponsor deals, and ours is kind of flipped right now. And the reason that the pros in the United States are making so much money is because there was a tour wars, essentially. When PPA and Major League Pickleball were not merged before, they were fighting over players. So Major League Pickleball started signing players to exclusive contracts, and then PPA Tour was like, oh shit, like we need to start signing players. And then they got into bidding wars, and then they bid these players' contracts up so high, and then the tours winded up merging, and then they tried to like they tried to de-escalate and lower some of these contracts. But anyway, players were getting an insane amount of money. And in pickleball, I think it's really interesting coming from a large soccer background, and my brother playing ice hockey we both played D1. I played D1 soccer at Duke, and my brother played D1 hockey at Penn State. And I mean, we worked our entire lives to play a professional sport. I started playing soccer when I was 2, and the NWSL, I mean, the salaries are so low. When I graduated, players were making like 40 grand coming out, and it was very hard to make a living. Many people had multiple jobs. Pickleball players it's not luck because they put themselves in these situations, but they hit the gold rush. The sport is the fastest growing sport in the world the fastest growing sport in the United States for the last 3 years. The rate is exponential, and people and brands are throwing money at it, because if you look at pro sports assets, it's like the best performing asset class overall in the last, I don't even know, 5-10 years or whatever or maybe more years. I don't know. Pro sports franchises have been the most insane asset class. And so it's also like a cool thing to own if you're rich. And so people want the clout, people want the diversification, they want the exposure. And so buying a professional pickleball team a couple years ago, you were just paying a couple $100,000. Now you're paying multiple millions. There's some teams that are apparently worth like 25 million. We'll see. But people were throwing their money into pickleball, and so it's created this really unique opportunity for a lot of the pros. So we'll see how that expands throughout the world. I think Asian countries are the most ready for this. Badminton courts are the same size as a pickleball court. So in Asian countries that play a lot of badminton, they can easily, I guess, transform into pickleball courts. So that's pretty interesting. But I would say in general, it's coming. It's going to happen quick, not just on the professional side, on the amateur side. There are so many people playing. Vietnam is insane. There was a pro tour there. There was a pro stop there. And there also was like the Yola, one of the largest paddle manufacturers, and my sponsor actually took out our top professional players to Vietnam to do like a tour in Asia, and Vietnam was the most insane. So if you're in Vietnam, what's up? I would love to go there one day soon and host something or coach or do something fun in pickleball. So yeah, I just think that it's exploding. People around the world are playing it. There's going to be more pros. Hopefully this becomes an NCAA sport. There are a lot of colleges playing it at the club level, and there's a lot of high schools that are now playing it. And I think that's going to become more widespread. Hopefully this gets into the Olympics in the 2030s. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. Last thing I want to mention is that in other countries, there are people that are playing professionally, but very, very few are doing it just like as a sole career. Many people are teaching or doing other things to supplement their income. I think last year there was 1 or 2 females, I believe, that were playing pickleball full time in England, in the UK, and that was it. There were some guys that playing, they weren't doing it full time. Australia, there are more players playing it full time, but a lot of these players, and India, same thing. There are some that are playing it full time, but a lot of them do like stints where they come back to the US and train with USA players and then go back to their home country and share the knowledge and branch out. So that's the update. There's so much more to talk about. I wanted to talk about paddles, and oh my God, there's so much to talk about, but we'll leave it there for now. Let me know what you think. Thank you for tuning in to a little update on hosting as well as the pro pickleball scene throughout the world. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. I could do more life updates. I could stick to doing more podcast series, but I thought this was an interesting time to come on and share some news with you guys. So thank you for all the support. And thank you for tuning in each week. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.